What's up, America? Neil here with Geauga Firearms Academy. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to do a video on the importance of dry fire. What is dry fire? Why do you do it? And how is it going to help you? Well, if you want to get better at shooting in any discipline whatsoever, whether you want to increase your accuracy, your mechanics, which is a big one. When I say mechanics, I mean movement with the gun. For example, reloads or clearing malfunctions, that type of thing. And I can tell you that from my experience in shooting, with really high-level shooters as well, all the way up from SWAT guys to competitive shooters. At the end of the day, when the wheels come off, it's usually during mechanics. So this is something that you can do safely at home to really improve your live fire shooting. Okay. So what it is, real simple. I'm basically taking my actual gun that I'm going to shoot. I'm going to clear it like I normally would. I'm going to make sure that there's no mag in there. I'm going to look and visually touch to make sure that there's nothing in the chamber. I know this gun is completely clear. I'm going to take this to a room that has no ammo. We never want to introduce ammo into this, okay? And once I'm there, I'm going to be able to do my training. And this is bare bones all you need. A quality gun that you can dry fire, and that's it. There's a bunch of cool aids and things out there that you can spend lots of money on, and you can make it like a game if you want. It doesn't really matter, but a bare bones gun is all you need. So let's talk about this. What is the difference with the trigger right now in dry fire as opposed to live fire? What's the difference with my sights and how I use them, dry fire or live fire? What's the difference with my grip for dry fire and live fire? And all the answers are, they're all the same. Everything is the same. The only thing that we're taking out of this gun, or out of the process I should say, is recoil. And so a lot of people misunderstand. They always assume that recoil makes them miss, which is impossible. Impossible. By the time your ears hear the sound and recognize the gun going bang, it's already too late. That projectile, that bullet, is long gone. There's nothing you can do about it. This is a 5-inch barrel, give or take. That bullet's gonna travel 1,000 feet in 1 second. So it's hard to imagine how fast it covers 5 inches, twice as fast as you can blink. So there's nothing that you can do to disrupt, literally, that bullet from going out of the gun while it's traveling down the barrel. In other words, this firearm is going to operate exactly the same way whether it's dry or it's live. The only thing that's going to be different is that recoil. What people misunderstand about shooting, if you really want to become better at it, it's 90% mental. So we can talk about grips and how we press the trigger and where our finger is and how you stand, and that will improve 10% of your result. But if you really want to work on the 90, it's right here. You got to understand first, why do you shoot low? Why is that? Well, we've done this a million times, but this is the real secret sauce, if there was one. It's a mental issue, not a physical issue. What occurs is when I go out, I find my front sight, I press the trigger, and the gun doesn't move, right? That's what I need to have happen. However, what actually happens is that when you're out there live fire, right before the gun goes bang, you do this. And now you notice that the barrel is pointed downward. That's when the bullet comes out. Even though my sights were perfectly online for where I wanted that bullet to go, when the bullet actually leaves, my sights are down. And that's where that low comes from. You're anticipating the fact, because you're a human being, and this is a natural reaction. When we feel resistance, we push back. When you anticipate the fact that gun's about to go bang, we push the gun forward. And again, anticipation of that force. Create a fix for this. And a lot of people go to the range, they load their mags up. And by the way, if I have a box of 50, I'm going to put 5 in a magazine. That way I'm going to get, out of a box of 50, I'm going to get 10 reloads. So 10 more times where I practice the movement. That's what you're there for, okay? But the bottom line of this is I have to do something different in order to make an improvement. And I think people don't recognize that you're practicing insanity. You go to the range, you put 10 in your magazine, you load your gun. The first 3 are pretty good, and then the next 7 are not so good. So what do? You put 10 more in the mag, get back in the gun, and do it again, expecting a different result. That's insane. That's the definition. So rather than doing that, we need to do something different. So let's assume here for a moment that this magazine has live rounds in it, and the gun's loaded, and I'm doing my thing. So let's say I take 2 rounds, those are live, they look good. 2 more, not so good. This is the point where we're going to stop, take our mag out, I'm going to rack the gun. That live round would come out. I would put this live magazine right back in, okay? And now I have an empty chamber and a, however, you know, fully loaded mag or close to it. And I'm going to go do dry fire now. So yes, at the range where you're live firing, we're going to stop and we're going to go back to dry fire. That's why this is so important, because we got to fix the computer. It's a mental thing. So then I come back out and I start making shots. Now what will happen is your first shots are going to start doing this, starting this movement thing. And then after a while, you're going to get a good one. And then you're going to focus on that front sight. You're going to keep doing this. So you get 5 or 6 really good shots where that front sight doesn't move. You know it was good. And then you give it a full send and you fire the next round. Now that next round, of course, will be live. And you're going to be shocked at how accurate you actually were, because we reset the computer. Rather than us going, push that gun forward, you're doing exactly what you've been doing in dry fire, which is nothing, just holding the gun and pressing the trigger. If you can do this without moving, then you can do it while holding the gun. The only difference is your brain goes, oh, it's going to go bang. Okay? So that's what we need to reprogram. The bottom line is there's rarely a day that goes by where I don't do some dry fire practice. If I had to go into a room where there was definitely somebody with a gun that was trying to shoot us, and I could pick a guy who just did 1,000 live rounds or 1,000 dry fire, I'll take the dry fire guy every single time. Every single time. It's critically important because anybody can line up your, like in this particular setup, we got a 3-dot, doesn't matter where you can see it, 3 dots, right? 2 in the back and 1 in the front. Anybody can line those dots up. That is not the reason you're missing. It's not about, well, how perfect was it? And a lot of people also get into over-analyzing that perfect sight picture. Listen, it's got to be good enough. Focus on my front sight or the red dot, whatever you're using, and press the trigger properly. At the end of the day, though, if I can't do that without jerking or moving the gun for anticipation, it's never going to work. So that's where this dry fire comes in. All I'm doing here is mentally training. If I could get one point home to you guys, dry fire is for the mental part of shooting, which is 90% of the equation. And then one other side note, this is one of the most common guns out there as far as the setup. It's a striker fire gun, but you may also have a double action, single action hammered fire gun where I don't have to worry about resetting the trigger as much. I'm not going to have the light, short, crisp trigger, but I'm going to be able to do my double action trigger, which again is going to be much harder for most people than the light, short, single action. So you can also take advantage of that if that's your jam. Either way, getting out there and dry firing is how you're going to get better at everything it is that you want to do. I mentioned earlier about malfunction practice or malfunction drills. You can get yourself some snap caps if you want and start working on some malfunctions, clearing malfunctions. Again, even if you take the mag out and you just have this, it'll still work. If I want to do a tap, rack, bang drill, meaning that'll fix a type 1 and type 2, that's failure to extract or bad primer or whatever the case is. When I go out there and I get a click, I'm going to bring it in my workspace, tap the mag well, make sure it's seated, roll the gun, port down, rack it, and then get back in and follow up. That can be done just with the gun and nothing, but you can use snap caps in a magazine if that's your jam. Either way, that's where the benefit's going to come in. Hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. Hopefully help somebody out there with whatever it is that you're working on, or at least get you to the next level. You know where to find us here on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Rumble. We're on Instagram. Kim always yells at me because I forget that one. And we put all our premium content on Patreon. And by the way, you guys, just so you understand how that works, when you go to Patreon, those videos are just for you guys. They're never put on YouTube anywhere else. And I answer every question that you guys put out there. I make a video just for you guys. So it's completely your oyster. I'm just there to facilitate that, all right? Until next time, remember, it's always better be judged by 12 than carried by 6.